huge mansions, fast cars, expensive jewelry. The life of a billionaire, and my best friend was a billionaire. But you never guess what? Being friends with a billionaire made me end up in jail. Hi, I'm Katerina. So first, let me tell you about my best friend Lucia's billionaire family. Do you know what this is? That's right, a one-of-a-kind Delgado watch designed just for me. I live here. No, not there. There. The big house that belongs to the Delgado family, and I live on the property because my mom and dad work for them. Mom is their housekeeper. Dad is their chauffeur. He looks after Mrs. Delgado's classic car collection. Don't tell anyone, but she has 48 cars. Who needs 48 cars, right? Mom and Dad have worked for the Delgado family for years. In fact, it's how they met and fell in love. When my mom had to tell Mrs. Delgado she was pregnant, she was so scared, but Mrs. Delgado was delighted because she was pregnant too. And that's how I ended up being best friends with billionaire heiress Lucia Delgado. For a long time, we were too young to notice the difference between us. But as we got older, I saw that she had all the best toys. And sometimes I did get jealous. But Lucia always shared everything with me. She says she'd rather have a friend to play with than more toys. Because she is so rich, Lucia got sent to boarding school. To learn languages nobody speaks anymore and politics. And I went to the local school to learn how to stand up to bullies and talk your way out of detention. But when she came back for the holidays, we still hung out all the time. And we got to do cool stuff, like when a famous movie star came to meet her dad to be the face of Delgado watches. Then, when his movie came out, I showed my friends the pictures, and one of the school bullies said I photoshopped it and was desperate for attention. And a loser. But then the actor had to come back to meet Mr. Delgado, and my mom told him what happened. And he picked me up from school in one of Mrs. Delgado's sports cars. And I was like, see ya! Yeah, that was fun. But it's not all fun. Like the day Lucia's boarding school got on the news. It was shocking. The school Lucia went to, if you were a millionaire, you were poor. Like, they had billionaire children from all over the world. And one boy, a civil war broke out in his country, and the people on the other side tried to kidnap him. But it went wrong, and they were trapped in the school for the whole night with all of the students. Imagine what her parents went through. They didn't know if Lucia was alive or dead. None of us did. That was awful. It was okay in the end. Lucia helped a lot of younger students. Her parents and school were really proud of her bravery, and so was I. All of which brings us to last summer. Up until that horrible night at her school, Lucia had been allowed to hang out just like me. Her parents are rich, but they're not famous, so they always felt that we were safe. But that summer, Shauna arrived. Shauna was Lucia's personal protection. I know she was only doing her job, but whatever we tried to do, it seemed like Shauna was just there. You know, in the way. Lucia just wanted things to go back to normal. But now the only time she could relax was when she was at home. We did makeovers. We watched old movies. We played charades. All with Shauna standing kind of like, not close, but not far away. One day I was telling Lucia about this camping trip I did with school, and she told me that she had never been camping. For once, Lucia looked a bit jealous. I had done something she hadn't. I said we should ask her mom and dad if we can go camping. Lucia said her parents would never let us go. I was like, it's fine, we can take Shauna with us. Lucia was like, yeah, she can sing us songs and make marshmallows on the campfire. Imagine my surprise later that night when my phone buzzed and Lucia told me her mom said she could go camping after all. When I ran to ask my mom, she'd already gone to bed. And by the time I woke up next morning, she'd already gone to work. Managing the life of billionaires is a full-on job. I quickly messaged mom, going to stay the night with Lucia. Love you. But I was surprised that Shauna wasn't with us. Lucia told me everything was fine. She said her mom thought it would be good for us to get out and have fresh air. And her dad even gave me a torch and told us to look out for shooting stars. And because she was my best friend, I believed her. Would you believe a friend who told you everything was fine? Well, I was wrong, really wrong. And what happened next was shocking. As we walked to the campground, I thought Lucia might get tired and whiny. Billionaires aren't always the best when they have sore feet. But she loved it, the flowers and the mountains. I said I hadn't seen her so carefree all summer. I never thought my billionaire best friend would be jealous of me, but Lucia said she wished she had the same freedom as I did to go where she wanted. Her parents had gotten really paranoid since that night at the school. We were exhausted when we got to the campground and just had time to heat up some beans on our tiny stove before we fell fast asleep. The next morning, one of our favorite bands had dropped a new track, so we listened to that like 20 times before we packed up our tent and started to hike back. It wasn't long before we heard a rumbling in the distance. It was a helicopter going super fast. I was like, oh, flights into the mountains. That would be really fun. Lucia said, yeah, maybe it's something like that. Then the helicopter hovered straight over our heads and people appeared. And I shouted, oh my God, we're being kidnapped! Run! And Lucia ran after me shouting, Kat, wait! It's not what you think! I didn't know what she meant, but I knew we have to keep running. The grown-ups from the helicopter were way faster than us. But then I realized Lucia had stopped running. It wasn't long before I was surrounded. I screamed, Lucia, no! I was so sure my friend was going to be kidnapped. Then the security guy said, stay quiet. You're under arrest for the attempted kidnap of Lucia Delgado. I was like, you're not serious. I'm her best friend. There's millions of selfies of us if you look on my phone. I pleaded with them to let me go talk to her, but they said no. And before I could even say, I'm under what for what, I was put in jail. And yes, you guessed it, Lucia had never asked her mom's permission for us to go camping. She knew they would make us bring Shauna along, so she just snuck out. I was behind bars for another whole day before everyone was satisfied that I hadn't been trying to kidnap my best friend. After that, we were both extremely grounded, making the summer even more boring than it had been already. My mom was furious. She knew I would never do anything to hurt Lucia, but she reminded me that going camping without telling anyone is really stupid. I looked back at the message I sent. To be fair, staying with Lucia didn't really tell my mom what she needed to know. I was kind of angry with Lucia for using me to get away from her parents and her security guard. But I agree with her that it's really annoying to have someone follow you around all the time, so I forgave her. So, what would you buy if you had all the money in the world? Let me know in the comments. And if you thought my story about my friends was crazy, then take a look at my friends, because you won't believe what he found out about his friend.